Hi guys, it's Jenny with Dynamic Fitness with Jenny again. I'm sorry I haven't been on here in a bit, but I've just been really busy. So much going on. You know, we all have a life. We have things that we have to get done on a day-to-day basis, family, work, workouts, and I've just been really busy with this new challenge that, like I told you on our last video, I've created the Fired at 5 Accountability Challenge. Starts November 11th. Have about 1 or 2 more spots left over. So if you want to get involved in it, just go ahead and give me a message and I'll send you out the information. There's still time to get involved. May not do another challenge in December because of the holidays. I'm not sure yet. If I get enough interest, I might, but we will be starting 1 or 2 more groups in January. So if you want to kick off the new year right, just pay attention for more information. I'll be posting more about that later. But today, I got just a few things I want to share with you. And I've been doing a lot of thinking, and one night I just couldn't really sleep, and I was just laying there, and a lot of things going on in my head, as we all have that. Just thoughts running in our head. And one of the things kept running into my head was a principle that Team Beachbody likes us to think about and really focus on is our why. You know, why are we doing what we're doing? You know, with the coaching side of it, why am I a coach? What are my goals for it? What's my purpose for being a coach in fitness? And that is and a why. So that's what my focus here today is why. But there's different aspects of the why. Basically, I want you to think about what your why is for motivation. How's your motivation? How do you motivate yourself? How do you get yourself going? Is it a person? Is it a website? Is it a book you read? But what is your why? What is your motivation that keeps you going on a day-to-day basis? And I think that we need to think on that, and knowing our motivation and knowing why we're doing it every day, why we get up, what is our goal? I'm here, I want to be here, but why do I want to be here? And why don't I want to be here? So we need to figure that out. And you need a firm foundation when you're wanting to make a change in your life. So if you're wanting to lose weight, if you want to get more toned, if you need to actually gain weight because you're underweight, some people that doesn't think that happens, but it is a case with some that you want to gain weight instead of losing. But when you start that, you need to have a foundation of what you're standing on, because whenever you build a house or anything, you got to have a solid foundation to build on, because if it's not, then it's just going to topple over and it's just going to be weak. So you need to start out with a firm foundation of your why, basically the motivation of why you want to do what you want to do and where you're going. What's your driving force? Is it you're doing this for yourself, or are you doing this for your kids? Are you doing this for something else, for someone else? Is the driving force because you have a event coming up or a special occasion coming up that you want to reach your goal for? What's your driving force of basically why you're on this journey right now? I have my notes. Sorry, so if you see me look down, I wrote some stuff down, so I'm trying to look at my notes. Where you need to look at where you are now and where you want to go and where you want to go, whether it's fitness, if it's finances, if it's a relationship. But you have to look at where you're at now, and you need to see where you're at, and then you need to look at it and see, is there a pattern of success that I've had of where you're at now? What can I duplicate and redo? Or has there been some mishaps, mistakes, and failures? So you need to look at those patterns, write them down, and then just really say, you know, I've been doing this and I've had great success with it. I want to probably keep going at that. I want to work upon it. I want to build upon that. Make that part of your foundation. I've done this. I haven't had the greatest success with it, and I've had problems and I've failed. Let's get that out of there. That's not going to be part of the foundation. I need to get rid of that unstable brick, per se, out of the foundation so I can build upon stronger things. Is there, in the pattern of success and failures, was there someone that helped you in those successes and failures? So you need to look at that one too, because sometimes the things you did right, you had a partner or you had guidance and support. So that's a really good one. And then sometimes there is people that have basically hindered you. And that's one thing we need to look at is, are there enablers in our life or is there supporters in our life? If there are enablers in there, then we need to really focus on how to turn it into a positive. Maybe you can start motivating them. If you can start maybe coming up to them and say, hey, look, I've been really struggling with this, and I notice that every time we're together or whenever we do this, it turns out like this, and I don't like that. I don't want that pattern. I want to quit that. And talk to them heart to heart and be nice about it and seeing if they can help and maybe change, because sometimes people who are enablers don't even know that they're doing that. Case in point, me and my husband. He works really hard, and he comes home, and sometimes he wants to relax, and he doesn't want me to cook, and he says, no, let's just go out to eat. So, and he sometimes doesn't realize that he likes to do that more often. So I talked to him, and he worked on it. He's like, oh, I didn't even know. So we've been really working on that and paying attention to kind of stop or limit, and he's just been more aware of it. So sometimes people who are doing things in their life don't even know that they're doing it. And then there are, sadly, those that are enablers that are purposely doing that because they don't want to see us succeed. And that's when we need to quit that real quick. We need to stop that bad enabling in our life and change it to success instead. And then on another case point is you want to look at people who have been your supporters this whole entire time, who are always there when you're having a bad day or a good day, who can give you the right advice, the right motivation, the right support. And they have been there, and that's what you need to rely on, and those are the people you need to go to. Also going to people that have had success in their own lives and say, how did you do this? What was your why? What was your motivation? What was your foundation? How did you do that? And that's what we need to do is when someone is successful, we want to go to them. Someone who has had a really successful business and we want to start our own business, we want to go to them and ask them how they did it, because you want to repeat that successful behavior. But someone who has maybe not had a really good business, they're not the ones that we want to go and say, well, how did you do that? Because we don't want that. You would be able to learn from their mistakes and go on from there. So we can always learn from our mistakes. We can always learn from someone else's mistakes. And we always need to remember that. Excuses and lies. The blame game. We need to be honest, because we fill ourselves with excuses, and we lie to ourselves daily, and we always want to shift the blame in why we are the way we are. Sometimes that might not be the case. You're in a car accident that wasn't your fault and things happen, but it's still, you can't say, well, I was in a car accident and I'm just, I'm this way because of that. But you need to say, well, you know what? I was in a car accident. Things didn't turn out great, but I want to change. And you can. So it's just, you have to own up to your own mistakes. You have to own up for your own choices. You have to own up to your own patterns of life that you've lived and what you've done, because everyone makes their own choices. No one's forcing you to do what you're doing. No one's forcing you to live the way you lived, or whether it's good or bad. You have to own up for those choices and how you're doing. And once you own up to it, and once you basically accept it and stop listening to the lies you're telling yourself of, well, I can't do this. I can't work out. It's too hard. I can't change my eating. It's too hard. Well, I just don't have enough money. I don't have enough time. Once you get rid of the excuses that are in your life, once you get rid of the lies that you tell yourself, or I'm fine, I'm okay, or I'm always going to be this way. Once you own up to that and you start accepting it, saying, you know what, yeah, that's happened. Yeah, I used to do that, but you know what, I can change. Because from today, you can change. You don't have to keep repeating the same pattern. That's the wonderful thing about it, is that you can change the pattern. You can start a whole new pattern. You can start a whole new way of life, which is really wonderful, because so many people think that there's no hope, that there's no way of changing, that this is it. But there is always a choice. There's always a way to change. You don't have to keep doing the same thing. So you need to really look at those excuses, look at the lies, and then owning up. And you need to write it down too. Don't just say, okay, this, and this. And, I made this excuse. I said this lie. I've just lied to myself about this. And, I didn't do this, but I want to do this. Write it down. If you write it down, you can physically with your eyes see it, and you can go back to it. So when things aren't going so good, you can look, oh, well, this is my pattern of success. This is my pattern of failures. These are my enablers. These are my supporters. These are my excuses. Yeah, I'm still doing that. I got to change it. Or, yeah, hey, this is going really good. And then that way you can also later on in turn help someone else for the things you've learned. So you have to write it down because it helps to physically see it with our own eyes. Because you need to know why you want to change. I mean, you really need to know why. I mean, you need to do it for yourself too. I mean, first and foremost, you need to be able to do it for yourself because you need to learn to love yourself. And that's the hardest one of all is that many people don't love who they are, and they don't like who they see. And once you learn to accept who you are and love yourself, then you can make changes that you're able to change. Some things you just can't change. But some things you can, like you can change your hair color if you don't like it, long or short hair. But you really need to know why you want to change. Okay, another thing is accepting the past, learning from it. Okay, so whatever happened in the past, you need to accept it. It's in the past. You can't change it. You can't do anything about it, but you can learn from it. So if it's good, then you can repeat. If it's bad, say, I don't want to do that and move on. And I really hope I'm not repeating myself. I was just really scattered when I wrote some of these things down. So please forgive me if I'm repeating myself. And I really hope you get something out of this. But you need to realize the past can't be changed. The future hasn't come yet. All you can do is work on your present right now. That's all you can do is figure out what you want now, so that way your present will go towards what you want to be in the future. But you need to remember to keep moving on and not repeating the not so good, but repeating the good. So whatever you've done good, you want to keep trying to do. And the good that you haven't done, we want to try to stop, basically. In simple terms, do good, keep doing it, do bad, let's try to change it and fix it and stop. We're always being watched. So the patterns that we set and the things that we do are going to be an example to someone else. Case in point, my kids. How many times have you, me basically, you're driving and you're yelling at the drivers and you don't think anything of it, and then all of a sudden you start to get, another time you're getting frustrated in the car, may not say anything, your kids hear it and then they're repeating what you say. And you're like, but I said that a week ago. They hear you and they're going to pick up on those patterns. So we need to remember that people are always watching us, the good and the bad. And people are going to learn from us, but we want to be the right example. So we want to be the right example for our kids or other family members or friends and just simple acquaintances. And that way they have a good example to go to. Because that's what we ultimately want to be, is to be able to learn and to grow and to be able to pass on our knowledge to others. Big one. Stubbornness. Let me tell you something. I am very stubborn. I'm very, I don't want to say prideful, but I'm very stubborn because I don't want to ask for help. And that's always been my problem. And through my fitness journey and nutrition and changing the way I live and eat, I have learned to ask for help. And that's hard because a lot of people don't like to admit that they can't do something or they don't know something. And they don't like to ask for help, but we need to. We need to realize when we don't know something or we can't figure something out that we need to have help. Sometimes we can't see something when we're doing something wrong in a pattern that we're making. So an outside set of eyes can see something we may not be able to see. So that's why we need to just humble ourselves and say, hey, can you please help me? I need help. I don't know what to do. I don't know how I'm doing this. Over and over again. Can you please help me? That's all it is, just that initial step of help. Because if you never ask, your questions are never going to get answered and things may never change. So we've got to get that stubbornness, basically, of not asking for help. We have to ask for help because everybody needs help. Not everybody knows everything. There's not one person in this world that knows everything in this world. So we can always learn and we can always grow. And we can always help and teach others too. Because what we know, we may be able to help someone else with. So we need to be open and willing, with an open heart, willing to learn from other people. If you have a heart that's open and receptive, then you can learn so much, and it's such a blessing to be able to learn from people and to be able to pass that knowledge on to other people also. Like I said, if you never ask, you will never know. Nothing can get fixed or changed. Never be too proud to ask for help. That's a big one. That's the one I learn every single day. Because even when I get bogged down with